Hello and welcome to episode 77 of the Perth to Paisley Podcast, a podcast all about Heart of Midlothian Football Club. The Jambos ended a rotten recent run to beat St Mirren and Paisley for the second time this season, and it's the first time that the men in maroon have won twice in Paisley against the Buddies in the same season since 1991-92. Thank you very much, Heart Stats, for that. And joining me, Adam Kennedy, to discuss the JIT's triumph is Daniel McIver. McIver, how are we?
Tommy Devlin fucking scored! Come on! This is going to be the best podcast we've ever done, right? I'm saying that now for every listener. We're buzzing. Devlin's buzzing. Everybody's buzzing. What a result. Hi.
How annoyed are you that I got to see it in person and you didn't?
I'll be honest, the blow was lessened by the fact that I won money off it. If I hadn't won money, I would have been really annoyed.
It was when you messaged me saying, get my Devlin tweet shared now. I was thinking, what the hell? This is going to be some like love poem. He's going to go like...
That's coming soon.
Just all, just like all his expressions will be let out. I genuinely thought of you. I thought, as Daniel just combusted. But it's good to see that you're alive, still with us.
Yeah.
And yeah, can't wait to discuss his first goal and just winning a game.
What a novelty.
Oh, thank you. It's been so long. It's been like 3 games, but it feels like an absolute lifetime.
4 games, actually.
4 games. There you go.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, it's just such a mood changer, isn't it? Well done, Hearts, man. Buzzing. Absolutely buzzing.
And
the
we were
Paisley
class.
curse has been lifted.
Exactly.
Finally, I've managed to go to that manky ground and see us win a game of football. Hallelujah.
Incredible. What a day.
Unbelievable. I had a feeling and I stuck with it. And
this is the happiest we have ever been at the start of an episode, and we have won a league title in the time that we have been doing this show.
All we've done is won 2-0 away at St Mirren.
I know.
Oh my God. Oh, is this really how we've fallen throughout the season? Right. Anyway, scrap that. Doesn't matter. We're positive vibes only. First of all, we're going to go around the grounds as we do on this show, and we'll talk about the other 3 Saturday fixtures and, of course, the 2 on Sunday. So the trio of other Saturday fixtures in the Scottish Premiership: Aberdeen and Dundee United played out a 1-1 draw in Jim Goodwin's dugout debut at Pittodrie in front of Sir Alex Ferguson, of all people, as the Dons paid tribute to their greatest ever manager. Speaking of great managers, we're going to go on to Mark McGee and his Dens dugout debut as Dundee were hammered 4-0 by Livingston at Dens. Like I say, what a remarkable result that was. 3-0 down inside 21 minutes. Great way to appease the fans who were so on board with your appointment. And of course, elsewhere, we had a basement battle in the Highlands. St Johnstone took the lead at Ross County, looked for all intents and purposes like they were going to close the gap to the Staggies to just a sole point. However, it wasn't to be, as Malky Mackay's men bounced back to win 3-1 against Saints and extend the gap now at the bottom between 10th and 11th to 7 points. So it seems like they are going to pull away. And on the Sunday, talk about anticlimactic, I should say. Hibernian 0, Celtic 0. Fantastic. What a spectacle. But, of course, speaking of sides that could have gone within a point, Rangers at the very top of the table, having seen Celtic slip up in Edinburgh, failed to capitalise despite racing into a 2-goal lead at home to Motherwell, 2 goals in as many minutes. But the Steelmen battled back to earn their 2nd point from Ibrox this season. Unbelievable action of cinch. What did you make of it all, McIver?
There was no uneventful games barring the Hibs Celtic game, which kind of was as uneventful of 7 games combined. So they made up for it. Aberdeen, Dundee United. Dundee United seemed to have kind of rebounded from that poor run of form they were going through. I know obviously they would probably hope to get a better result, but I think the emotion of the day was always going to be either Aberdeen are going to get something here. You couldn't see them losing with everything that was going on. So yeah, that's fine. You said something wrong there. Mark McGee didn't make his dugout debut because he can't get in the dugout yet because he's still
Great point.
He's still his fan. And he continues.
How could I forget?
He's continuing his war with the mobile phone as he just seems absolutely terrified at anybody putting one near him.
Oh,
That was a laugh.
I've got to say, fair fucks to Dundee, man. They were getting stale, and then John Nelms has just ripped up the plan and just gone, do you know what? We're going to sack James McPake. As it appeared, things were turning around and appoint Mark McGee. What a laugh.
It's just incredible. Shout out to, again, friend of the show, Andrew Peacher, who got to be the sports scene commentator for that game, as he's usually had quite drab games recently, and then boom, 3-0 in 21 minutes.
How he managed to keep his composure and not piss his pants laughing would be beyond me. Fair play.
And then Reagan Charles Cook just continues to be the best player in the league.
That's what he does.
Aye,
Stirs the pot in
the
yeah.
They're just... It's so weird. Like, we'll get to it in a minute with the rest of the game, but Ross County are such an enigma. Like, they're only outscored by Rangers and Celtic, but they have by far and away the worst defensive record in the league.
It's incredible. I was looking at some kind of league stats today. Bruce Anderson is on 11 league goals.
Yeah.
Since when?
I know. It's crazy.
It's remarkable. Reagan Charles Cook is the division's top scorer, and he plays for the side that are 10th. And like you say, the third highest scorers in the division. Remarkable.
It's crazy. And then, as I say, Hibs Celtic was so dull. I watched that whole game, and I'm never getting that time back. Oh my God, it was terrible. I don't know what... Listen, Hibs were actually quite good. I will say that. Second half, they tailed off a wee bit. But in the first half, Hibs were in control. Hibs looked really dominant, and Celtic just didn't know what to do. So resting the players against Bodo was a fantastic choice, Ange. Well done. And then I also watched the second half of the Rangers game because I was like, oh, it's 2-0. I'm not going to put it on. And then I saw Jordan Roberts score.
Of all people.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh, well, maybe something will happen. I definitely didn't expect Al McGregor to just continue this like catastrophic fall of a cliff level of form that he's under, and just Rangers didn't know what to do. And I like how Rangers and Celtic are currently in an operation of, no, you have it in the most important league title win in our lifetime in terms of financials.
It's actually crazy. I was thinking, as soon as I saw Rangers race into a 2-goal lead, I was expecting 4s, 5s, easy. But certainly did not see Motherwell bouncing back from a 2-goal deficit.
And then what that means
2 points
is
taken from Ibrox this season. How mental is that?
Yeah, it's crazy. What that now means is that 4th to 10th is separated by 5 points, with 4th, 5th, and 6th all on 35, and then the 2 below them on 34, then 10th and 30. Like, what's going on? This isn't like early season mental. Where like you're 4 games in and so like 5 teams have the same points. It's February. We're coming into the final few games before the split, and we're just sat like we simultaneously
we're just chilling.
We have no competition while simultaneously having 7 teams all competing with us. Make it make sense, please.
It's an absolute nonsense. You said something there that I was in agreement with. I can't remember what I was just going to say. It's been a long day. Look,
we're too buzzing. We're too excited about the positivity. We can't think straight.
This league is just barmy. Do you think? I mean, you've mentioned the sides from 4th to 10th there. St Johnstone are going to finish 11th and Dundee 12th now. Eh? I know Dundee have got the game in hand, but I can't see them doing anything under Mark McGee.
No, I just think it was. I mean, within a week, almost everybody who said this is a bad appointment has almost immediately been proven right.
And yet, they actually look decent at Parkhead and very well nearly ended up with a point.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
this
absolutely
league is
crazy.
Nuts. But again, I don't know if it's lack of quality or just... I don't know.
It's competitive, whatever you want to say.
What I do know is, for a debut season for Cinch to be the league sponsors, they picked an absolute cracker.
Mind at the start of the season, when we were all like, who's this fucking car company? Ryland's the host here. And now I'm like, this is it for my life, please. I never want to drop the Cinch. Yeah, I never want to drop Cinch, ever.
what do you think was like the most iconic sort of league sponsor? Because Clydesdale Bank was a bit shit. Ladbrokes was all right.
I don't know, because we grew up in Clydesdale Bank. Like, that's what I remember a lot of growing up. But Ladbrokes is like what I think of when I think of our domestic game. But now, Cinch has taken over Oya in less than a season.
It's just going to be known as the Cinch.
It's become a verb. Like, that's class.
I'm a massive fan of... I think it might have been SPFL Media Watch tweet out and say that we've now learned that Dortmund would be fighting relegation in the Cinch. Meanwhile, Motherwell and Dundee United can effectively win the Bundesliga.
Yep.
Sensational. But speaking of winning, we're going to get talking to Hearts, returning to winning ways. Oh, smiles. It's great. I'm so happy. Oh, it is mad how just a little measly 3 points can change your entire mood. I was looking forward to the podcast. I thought, brilliant. Cannot wait to get chatting about the men in maroon as soon as that was finished. Fantastic.
I'm just buzzing.
Aren't we all? And look, Robbie certainly rang the changes after a poor batch of fixtures, let's just say.
That's one way of putting it.
I would say back-to-back. I would say back-to-back. But of course, 6 changes from the St Johnstone defeat, like I say. Craig Gordon returned in goal with the incoming Craig Halkett part of the back 3 in front of him. Outdropped Ross Stewart and Toby Sibic. Benny Beningame would partner goalscorer Cammy Devlin in midfield, replacing Peter Haring. And Gary Mackay-Steven replaced Alex Cochrane at left wing back. Meanwhile, Ben Woodburn was part of the duo supporting lone striker Liam Boyce. Josh Ginnelly and Ella Sims had to settle for spots amongst the subs. Yes, I'm looking at my Who Scored notes because 6 changes is a heck of a lot. What did you make of that team selection? If I run through it quickly, McIver, and then you can give us your thoughts. Gordon in goal. Back 3 of John Suter, the incoming Craig Halkett and Stephen Kingsley. Nathaniel Atkinson at right wing back. Gary Mackay-Steven at left wing back. Cammy Devlin and Benny Beningame in the middle of the park with Woodburn and Mackay supporting Boyce.
So I don't think that was the formation, and I think that's the main talking point. I panicked that was
why
the
does
formation.
Robbie make me look like a fanny whenever I do these?
No, but this is the thing. This is the thing.
I swear.
When I saw that team sheet, that's what I thought it was. I looked at that and went, GMS is in this left wing back role that we've heard Robbie wants to play him in. But it was actually a 4-2-3-1 with Kingsley and Atkinson
fullbacks.
As fullbacks, Sutton Halkett in a 2, Devlin Benny, and then a 3 of GMS, Woodburn and Mackay kind of rotating and Boyce on his own. Now, when that was said on Twitter, I had mixed emotions because I was delighted. I was on a train coming back into Edinburgh as it happened, and I was delighted to see that Halkett was back, but then terrified because he has not been great, let's just say, as part of a duo as a 2. He's clearly best in the middle
Often
of the
down to his partner.
Oh, almost entirely down to his partner. Like, having to babysit Berra and Popescu for so many games takes an emotional toll.
I saw Mihai Popescu in Paisley on Saturday afternoon.
Did you actually?
Yeah.
What was he doing?
Coming past the main stand. He was at the game. Coming past the main stand, and I saw he and his missus. Don't know why he was there. Like, Meraki's playing on Saturday? I don't know.
I don't know. In fairness, he is still technically a Hearts player.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm now having a look.
He's coming off
on Saturday, so that explains it.
He's coming to cheer on.
They played Friday night, so they did.
Oh, of course they did.
Drawing 1-1 with Inverness. That was on BBC Scotland. Didn't watch it.
No.
Couldn't pay me to watch that game, but carry on.
Fuck that. I was happy with the formation change. Admittedly, I was worried about Halkett, but I was like, he should be all right. I hope so. I like that we changed formation because I've been worried that the 2 in the middle of the park doesn't work away from home because the opposition manager just puts 3 in the middle and we're completely overrun. However, this time we had 3 in the middle. And obviously we'll get into the game. I think from the first minute, I thought this is working. We actually look good here. We look to be dominant. Harking back to when, at the start of the season, when we first debuted that 3-5, or like, what even fucking was 3-4-3, 3-5-2, 5-3-2. That the previous shape we've used, it looked we were that good in this game, much like we were at the start of the season.
I was genuinely convinced it was a 3-4-3 still. I don't know.
It changed during the game. I think it changed back to a 3-4-3 when Cochrane came on, because Cochrane then went out wide. But before
I thought Kingsley was pretty narrow for,
I think
supposing
Kingsley
he was a fullback. I don't know.
I think it's just because from the first whistle, we just had control of the ball. So Kingsley was able to kind of go, okay, I've got Halkett and Soot beside me, because Halkett was on his side. Halkett was on the left-hand side. So I think Kingsley just felt, I've got Halkett behind me who'll sit, so I can kind of tuck in and go forward.
Okay. That's intriguing, but obviously delighted to see the Craigs back. That was the main takeaway.
That was the best thing in the fucking world.
And obviously, a plethora of other changes. Liam Boyce back in contention. And that's who I wanted to touch on right from the start, because I counted 3 chances in 10 minutes in that opening 10 minutes. There's one where he receives from Barry Mackay and hits one wide on the spin. I think that's the very first.
Yeah.
Then Stephen Kingsley, in this supposed left back role that you've dubbed it, crosses for Boyce, heads into Anik's arms. And then Barry Mackay, my midfield magician, doing what he does, jinks and weaves, evades Alan Power, sends a cross in for Boyce, who cannot head home. And that's after 10 minutes. 3 chances in quick succession. What do you make on the striker that we've now effectively cursed?
Yeah, exactly. Was that last one, like that last chance, the one that he headed down and Anik just saved and it went out for a goal kick?
Yes.
That's a really good save.
Because it hits back off Boyce, I think. And then,
that's a really good save. That is just a really good save. I think Boyce is everything right in that instance, and you just go, for God's sake. Oh my God. Like, I feel like with some of them, it's like he's done everything right there, but it's just no come off for him. However, some of them, it's like, Liam, how have he missed? It's like, you're in acres of space.
Let's get him back on, and he can talk us through these chances.
Oh, God. I don't know, Adam. I don't know how he doesn't score any of them at all.
I think the third, Anik sort of chests as well.
Yeah.
So is it a good save? Or
I think it is. He makes his body really big and he gets in the way of it, and that's all a goalkeeper can do.
Maybe I'm just wanting to slave Boyce. I don't know why, because he's been good enough to come on the podcast in the past.
And he's a top goal scorer.
Yeah,
he's one of our best players this season. I was like, you didn't score against St Mirren.
One of the best strikers we've seen. Yeah, because I think it's because I backed him. I probably backed him last week to score the winner again. And needless to say, Boyce, you let me down. But it's fine. 3 points. If you have an off day and we pick up the win, I'm calm. That's fine. So if you've got a goal save for Aberdeen and United on the weekend, it's chill. Don't worry about it. Then, I've just seen what the next chance was in my notes. Gary Mackay-Steven then clips into middle for Ben Woodburn to blaze over the bar, as I've put it.
What did he do? I know we're being positive and we were class, but what did he do in this game?
Seriously. No. And not today. It's positive vibes only. Then we had a couple challenges that would then change the complexion of the game. 21 minutes in. Look, we know about the Conor Ronan sending off, but is Marcus Fraser lucky to escape any kind of card for the challenge on Gary Mackay-Steven? Because it's an absolute shocker.
Well, this is the thing. If St Mirren don't keep that ball in play, don't hurry to keep the ball in play and then play it inside, that Ronan challenge doesn't happen, which means GMS's foul would have been completely, nothing would have happened.
Yeah.
I can't, but the foul on GMS is worse than the Conor Ronan sending off.
Was it Greg Aitken, the man in the middle, I think?
Well, the first 2 minutes, I saw it was Greg Aitken, who, of course, was the referee in our Talbot game.
Oh, say no more.
And I just was like,
oh,
we're going to
Walsh
get
was the
fucked.
worst, but
No.
he might actually rival
I
him.
think it's either Walsh or Aitken. I couldn't, but listen, there's bigger decisions that we'll get to throughout this game that I think both sets of fans can go, how is he officiating this? Because, listen, he gets it right in terms of sending Ronan off. But
yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. That's a bad one as well.
It's awful. It's really bad. It's so high. It's into Benny's knee. It's shocking.
Mistimed. And I heard Robert Borthwick say on the commentary that there's no malice in it, which I get.
But that doesn't come into a red card.
Exactly. That's the thing. Everybody talks about the intent. I think it's only if you win the ball and you can, there's sort of like a 50-50 as to whether it's a sending off or not. That's probably the deciding factor, if there is the intent to genuinely do something. Connor Ronan doesn't seem that type of player, but it's a bad challenge.
It's awful. Like, that's the thing. I never really, I'll be honest, understand why people bring up intent unless, as you say, it's somebody like you can see that they've turned and left a foot in or something. But
just on my Congolese king as well. How dare you?
Yeah, exactly.
Disgusting.
I never understand it. There was the debate during the week actually about that Ryan Jack challenge, and a lot of the people who were arguing against it were saying, but there's no intent there because he pulls out, and it's like it doesn't matter. He still goes in high, studs up, and makes contact with the player.
Yeah, and look, as much as we slated the officials, they did eventually get that one right. So
what made him
fair play?
What made him send them off? Because there was a big gap.
Waited for ages.
Yeah, and it's not like we've got VAR, so he went to have another look at it. Like he just seemed to go, I don't know.
It's almost as though he was wanting Gary Mackay-Steven and Benny Beningame to receive treatment, and only then, once they've received their treatment, they can see that that he's sending Ronan off.
Yeah, it's so weird.
I didn't get the long pause either. It did seem bizarre, to say the least. But of course, then that presents us with a golden opportunity against 10 men for the best part of an hour. What was your thoughts as soon as the buddies went down to 10? Because I'll be honest, I was thinking, if we do not take advantage of this, I'm never coming back. There is no chance that I was fully convinced that I would never see, because that's the greatest chance that we've had to go on and win in Paisley. As long as I've been going to Paisley, I thought that's it. We don't win this, I officially give up. I'm just never going to see it. What were your thoughts?
I was in two minds, if I'm honest. My first thought was, right, it's 22 minutes in. We've got a long time now. We should be able to take advantage of this. Then the other part of my brain was, well, listen, oftentimes when the opposition team gets somebody sent off, it's often harder to play against them because they just go, right.
Shut up, shot.
Yeah, sacrifice the win. However, it's often hard to do that when the sending off is that early. If it's the 60th minute, you can go, right, okay. But also I was thinking, listen, yes, they're down to 10 men. However, St Mirren are the informed team in the league, barring Celtic. This shouldn't automatically mean that, okay, they're now down to 10. We've got all this time. We should be able to get a result. But I'll be honest, and I'm glad Robbie mentioned it in his post-match interview. I don't think it changed the game in terms of, then we were on top. Because from the first whistle, we were the dominant side, Yeah,
I agree with that. And I think I was sort of thinking about the game in its entirety. I don't think, bar a couple set pieces, I ever felt like we were conceding.
Never. Really. Literally never. And actually, I want to speak about him now. I want to speak about him now because literally nothing happens in terms of us conceding chances here. Craig fucking Halkett. There is now no Hearts fan can argue that he's our most important defender. Like, when we don't have him, what was that stat? It was something like Heart Stats had it where it was like, played with Craig Halkett this season, we've won 12, drawn 2, lost 4. Played without Craig Halkett, we've won 1, drew 1, lost 4. Like, there is something previously, in previous seasons, probably the last 2 seasons, a lot of people, rightly so, have said that Suter has calmed down Halkett. He's that presence that has allowed Halkett to kind of be more comfortable and grow in the game. It is now completely flipped. Halkett is now the calming presence in that back line because, and we've been saying it every week on this show, it's not a bad thing necessarily, but all our other centre halves are ball playing centre halves. All of them are. And they rely on getting the ball down and playing and open up an expansive move forward. However, Halkett can't play football. So
simply put,
yeah, what he's good at is just being a defender. He just goes, listen, I'll sweep up everything, clean up everything, win everything in the air, and allow you to kind of go, oh, I don't need to worry about that. I can just fully focus on getting the ball down and passing forward. He won everything that we had been here. I know Connor Rowland got sent off, but we'd been hearing all week about how the attacking force of St Mirren were doing so well. As I say, unbeaten in 6. They hadn't not scored in any games, even in the draws. And as you say, I just never once felt like we were going to concede.
No.
And Halkett was, in my opinion, the major reason behind that.
No, I can't dispute that. I think St Mirren have actually got a not bad wee team.
I look at it.
They've got some good players.
Jordan Jones took the absolute piss out of Atkinson for the entire first half, who was, again, very poor. Again, positivity, but Atkinson was not good.
I wanted to build on that Halkett positivity and say that, out and out centre half does his job very well.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a special guest because Steve Clark was in and amongst that crowd. And all I'm going to say
was
is,
he?
Scotland play a back three. They're crying out for somebody slap bang in the middle. Look, Halkett was, subject to speculation, transfer talk and all that. But hey, you never know.
I hope he doesn't get called up for Scotland.
Oh,
because then he won't get hurt.
Absolutely. I saw Barry Anderson say about Barry Mackay for Scotland. I'm thinking, absolutely not, Banderson. Leave him alone.
Yeah,
no
exactly.
thanks.
Yeah.
This is where it plays tricks on you. The fact that Barry Mackay hasn't scored is the only thing that's preventing him from a Scotland call-up goals, in which case, don't score from now until the end of the season.
Never score.
Thanks.
It's fine. Yeah, never score. You're all right, man. Just get 35 assists.
I'll be delighted with that. Look, first half, like you say, we didn't really, or I didn't feel as though Hearts were under threat, to be honest. I think Joe Shaughnessy headed wide from a Jordan Jones corner.
Mm-hmm.
That was after Ben Woodburn had another effort which ballooned over the bar. The less said about that, the better. And Stephen Kingsley had also slid one wide. But just before halftime, it's going to feel like I'm picking on him. Again, Liam Boyce presented with a fantastic chance.
This is the worst miss. Because it's a free
Positivity
header.
only, baby.
It's a free head. I'm not annoyed at him.
No, we've won. We won. Don't care.
But also, even at this point, I went, he's not scoring the day. This is one of those days where it's just, no matter what he does, it's no going in the back of the net.
See, that I sort of half felt this, but I certainly felt this with the chance in the second half. But if we talk about the one in the first half, John Souttar out from the back. I was actually listening to last week's podcast today. The amount of times that we said that Stephen Kingsley, in particular, was one of our top creative influences. Why are two of our defenders in a back three our best players going forward?
In fairness, that's what a back three is designed to do when you have two ball playing centre halves. However, it shouldn't be the only creative force. It should be like a backup creative force to be like, oh, that's good that we have that. However, the wingers and the wing backs should be doing it. Whereas with us, it's like, Souttar, Kingsley, you guys are the Mazzalas. Like, come on.
Well, this is it. It was Stephen Kingsley last week. This week, it's John Souttar who drifts out, sends a ball wide to Gary Mackay Stephen, sends a lovely ball in for Liam Boyce. I was going to be critical about GMS, but I remember this was a really good cross.
I thought he was quite good. I thought he was all right.
And like you say, it's a free header for Boyce.
And it hits the top of his bonds. Just like,
and just can't direct it goalwards. Yeah. So this was it for you.
That was it.
He's not scoring today.
I was like, he's not scoring today. I actually said at halftime that I'd get him off 4 Sims. So I was like, I think he's having a good game apart from his finishing. I think his all-round game, I'd give like a 7.5 out of 10. His finishing, I'd give half a point.
This is the thing that people who slander Boyce don't seem to notice.
If Boyce doesn't stay on that
park,
park,
out and out goal scorer.
Yeah,
but in reality, he contributes a lot more than that.
Without Boyce, we don't score either of the goals we score.
No. Simple.
And he doesn't get the credit because he didn't score. He had a very good game, but his finishing was bad.
You were going to turn off there, weren't you? You were. We kept you.
Definite listener to the podcast, Liam Boyce.
100%. He's just thinking, what are these two numpties saying about it this week?
Yeah.
But, Liam, I'm going to let you hear, because second half, less than 10 minutes on the clock in the second period, we're passing around the back again. Your man, Craig Halkett, the best ball playing centre-half, even swings one out to Stephen Kingsley.
Yeah,
it eventually falls to Gary Mackay-Stephen, who floats a ball into the box, looking for Cammy Devlin. The ball bounces for Boyce, who tries to round Jack Anick, but the goalkeeper and his defence, I was going to say do well to keep it out, but how do we not score? This was it for me. I lost it. I was like, oh my, I was thinking, that's it. This is the last time I will ever be in Renfrewshire cheering on the mighty Heart Midlothian unless we somehow get Morton away at Capel.
I was about to say, what about Morton?
This is nonsense. We are the only club that do not score in this predicament. I swear.
I couldn't believe. I laughed after it. I laughed going, what? Like how? I didn't know what to do. And at that point, I started to go, we only scoring the day. Nobody scoring the day.
Fully. That was when the doubts. I was like, how am I going to justify this? Because I had hassle getting my ticket. Hearts don't give you the option when you're buying online to get it posted out. So I need it posted down here. I had to get my dad.
Yeah, they do. You just have to do it quickly and in time.
Needless to say,
do not blame the club for you taking ages.
I'm gonna.
Shocking.
Because I had to get Dad to go into Tynecastle, then post it out to me. But look, I'm delighted that he did. I haven't spoken to the big man yet, but thanks, Davey K. Legend. And finally, it seemed like our trip would be justified because 10 minutes after Boyce somehow doesn't squeeze home. Sorry, Liam. We finally take the lead. I was so happy. Craig Halkett heads into Stephen Kingsley, hooks it up to Liam Boyce, nods down for Barry Mackay to just drive. And drive he does down that left-hand side, centres for Sims, who gets a couple bites of the cherry, eventually slams it home. We've made our numerical advantage count, and I lost my shit in and amongst that away end. Loads of other jambos, just going ballistic. It was great. I thoroughly missed that feeling. Fantastic. And we're 1-up in Paisley. Superb.
Ellis Sims, with one exception late in this game, exclusively shoots low. And I find that interesting.
Why?
Because I recently read John Robertson's autobiography, and that's the main thing he says in it. He says that a striker should always shoot low.
I read the thread on Sims, I think it was, on Kickback, and that seems to be Robbo's number one tip.
Oh, was that mentioned there as well?
It's worked for him, innit?
So I've never really noticed it before, but it's a sign that he's really intelligent, because when you look at the top level of the game, unless you're like Mbappe, Messi, Neymar, Ronaldo, or Lewandowski, where you can just kind of go, I can hit this in most areas and it will go in. You need to go, like, for example, Aguero was the king of it, where most of his shots are driven low into the corner because it's almost impossible for keepers to get. And I've noticed that I think every goal Sims has scored for us has been low into a corner. I know Anick, it's a bit weird because he kind of just takes a swing at the second one because he's like, I just need to get contact on this. And Anick's really unlucky to put it in, he almost put it in his own net. But I'm so impressed with Sims. We've, in recent weeks, you especially have been, and justifiably, have been critical of Robbie's substitutions, but his subs were absolutely spot on. I'll even say this. I didn't think he did a lot, but I thought Gino was actually really positive when he came on, because it was one of the few times he ran.
I agree.
He actually ran at people, and he didn't do that stupid thing where he like runs, beats them, and then cuts back. He would run, beat them, and play a ball
on toast.
Yeah,
No, wholeheartedly agree with that. I think Josh Ginnelly had the better Richard Tate for the vast majority of that match, and was often looking to provide for Sims and Boyce. So it's just as well that we didn't take Liam Boyce off, like you said earlier.
Yeah, Boyce is really key to that goal as well, because he flicks it down to Barry Mackay and then makes a run.
Barry Mackay just motors on. It seemed, for all intents and purposes, like we actually showed ambition to go out and win the game.
Yeah,
which was really refreshing away from home.
Absolutely.
But obviously against 10 men, I think we all know what would have happened had we not. The subs you touched on, I've got them in front of me here because obviously we made all 5 of our outfield substitutions. Really bizarre. At the end, come 70 minutes, I was trying to work out who the hell was playing where because I had no idea, particularly in the defence. But like you said, the 3 that came on simultaneously, Josh Ginnelly, Ellis Sims, and Alex Cochrane, can all rightly feel as though they changed the game in some respect. I think you particularly went to impress with Nathaniel Atkinson.
It's now getting to the point where I'm like, right, he's been here a while now, and for me, still no setting the header alight. Jordan Jones, I felt, had him on toast for that entire first half. Atkinson got booked at a point, it wasn't even that much. I don't think it was that far after Ronan got sent off. And it was just like, Jordan Jones looked at him and smiled in a way of like, I'm just going to keep running at you because you can't cope with me. And I just felt, again, obviously we win 2-0 comfortably, but that's after he comes off. And I felt part of that was him coming off and Cochrane coming on. And I just feel more comfortable with Cochrane, even though Cochrane was playing out of position right back.
And then Andy Halliday later came on to play
at right back. Yeah, exactly.
Bizarre.
Listen, I think Nathaniel Atkinson can probably turn into something. But so far for me, I'm not impressed.
That's what I was going to say, because out of the 2 Australians that have arrived,
could it be more different on them?
But not even that. Nathaniel Atkinson scored for Hearts before Cammy Devlin did.
Yeah, but like a lot of people have scored for Hearts before. Andy Halliday scored about 3 times a minute ago. No, you're not. You beat that.
I'm only weighing you up. I'm just raging that Barry Mackay's not yet scored. That's Atkinson and Devlin both gone ahead of him.
I saw somebody say on Twitter, be like, if Benny Bedingby scores, Barry Mackay must just go, right, I'm never scoring. If he scores before Barry Mackay does, the world's wrong.
Oh, I will piss my pants for Benny bags the winner on Wednesday night.
He still looks I've never seen it in a professional footballer at any level. Benny doesn't know how to shoot. There was a time in the first half where he got it on the edge.
How many times was everybody screaming, shoot, myself included?
But it's not even... Listen, there has been literally...
Just have a pop. What's the worst that can happen?
No, I don't think he's physically capable of it. I don't think he knows how to get that much power. Because
that's definitely an instruction. Just don't bother. You just pass it on.
There have been tens of thousands of footballers we've grown up watching, both for Hearts and in general life, who should never shoot. For me, a Newcastle fan, Paul Dummett comes into my mind, right? Paul Dummett.
Ali Mostock was one before he had his goal at Easter Road.
Yeah.
And then he would shoot every single game and try one from 35, 40 yards.
Ozturk still, before he scored his goal at Easter Road, would have a hit and it would go 35 yards away. But I've never, ever seen it that a footballer
that's so reluctant to shoot
just goes, I'd rather switch it 35 yards backwards than just go.
Are you asking what Craig Gordon's up to?
Yeah, it's like he'd rather let Craig shoot. And I'm not even critical of it. I'm completely flabbergasted by it. I don't know what to do.
Oh, I don't know if it's an instruction, if it's a confidence thing.
But he's been great. How can it be a confidence thing?
That's all he's missed, arguably.
And also, we're not I don't care if it goes at the stadium. I just want to see if he can physically shoot. I don't care what he does. But just can you?
It does seem like such a rarity that it's more out of intrigue now.
I know. I want to see what he can do.
Yeah.
What if he's amazing and he's like, it's not fair for every other team if I shoot because it goes in every single time?
If that's the case and he's kept that under wraps, oh my God.
We need to terminate his deal.
I wanted a club record fee. I want 30 mil per leg. Look, Josh Ginnelly, like we said, came on, did very well. In between the two goals, he actually sends a wicked ball in, and Joe Shaughnessy very nearly stabs it home. But Hearts would go 2 to the good. Here it comes. Don't worry, relax. Cammy Devlin wins the ball in the middle of the park.
Oh, he starts it. I did.
Very after some assistance from Liam Boyce, slips through to Ellis Sims. Jack Annett comes out, palms into the path of Cammy Devlin, your love child. I've got to be honest, love the way that he just opens up the body and slams into the empty net. 2-zip, comfy, surely en route to 3 points. A massive fuck you, St Mirren from me. Brilliant.
So, I was watching this in my house, and as we all know, watching a game in your flat, in your house, isn't as good as being there. You don't celebrate goals as much as you normally would. E.g., 3 minutes beforehand, with Sims, I was sat in my kitchen and just went, yes, get in, well done, Sims.
Sack that. I was sprinting all over
That's what I'm saying. You were there. You were there. If I was there, we'd do the same thing. But in your own home, you don't do it as much unless it's a derby or a cup final.
Or you've got money on it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, when Benny, who we've just been criticising for that, inexplicably plays a class ball, and it's like, do that more often, Benny. That was amazing.
A forward pass.
Exactly.
That's a unity from him.
Exactly. Then when Sims Budokai knees Jack Annett in the head, I was thinking, oh my God, it's Devlin. And when the ball got to Devlin, I jumped up expectedly. And first of all, before we get to the goal, well, the fallout from the goal, it is the hardest chance he's had at Hearts, and this is the one he scores. He misses absolute sitters. He has to, as you say, he's edge of the box. I know the keeper's down, but it's Cammy Devlin.
Sort of in his wake, no?
It's Cammy Devlin. I expected it to go out of the stadium.
Not professional footballer. That's the score.
Shut up. And when he scored, I went fucking ballistic. That was as if we just won a cup. I celebrated that like it was... I was a 6-year-old seeing their first Hearts goal before. I was... And so did
what I'd have given to have been a fly on your wall.
And so did he. It's that... Funnily enough, another Australian, the only player I can think of that was a similar celebration was whenever Gowser scored, because Gowser celebrated like a fan would, where they just don't know what to do and just start running and freaking out. And Devlin did that. I'm so delighted for him. He was amazing in this game. He was so good. As I say, he wins the ball. He got into a fight with Alan Power that inexplicably he got booked for as well. Yeah, I don't understand that.
How did I miss that? That was right in front of me. That is an absolute shambles.
Yes, I can't even speak. I've made it very clear that he's my favourite player. He's my favourite signing we've made. I love him to pieces. He's great. And we had like a little thing going that was like, you're Team Benny, I'm Team Devlin. We love them both, but we have our preferences. Well, now Malin scored first, so get it right up you. Cammy Devlin! Love him.
Still was the second Aussie to score for us this season, but that's fine.
Don't give a shit! Who cares?
His came in a win. Sorry, Nat. Yeah.
Exactly. Fuck the thing. What was the point in Atkinson's goal against St Johnstone? Who gives a shit?
We were meant to be in the ascendancy, but bottled it away from home.
Exactly. I don't even count it as a goal.
But this is what I wanted to come on to, because it's clear to see that the Perth hoodoo still remains. Absolutely delighted to see us win twice in Paisley.
So see when we won.
Long overdue.
When we won, I was sat there going, God, I can't even remember the last time we've won twice in Paisley in the same season. Well, there's a reason that I can't mind it, because it predated my birth by 6 years.
I couldn't believe that when Hearts Stats got in touch with me saying 91, 92. Because I was in correspondence with Brad, who's a regular listener, shout out you. And yeah, I just thought, do you know what? I'm just going to chuck out to Hearts Stats. Surely they've got that to hand. 91, 92.
Unbelievable.
That's bonkers.
Again,
We've had 3 Scottish Cup wins since then.
I know. It's mental. But the main positive, for me, was that it wasn't just a 2-0 win where we got 2 scrappy goals and they dominated. It was a 2-0 win that we, from first whistle to final whistle, fully deserved, dominated. So many players played brilliantly. And
that's probably the only annoyance, that the goals were scrappy. Because from the first minute, we were the only team in that game.
The fact it wasn't 3 or 4-0 by halftime was unbelievable.
We've said about how Barry Mackay is not going to score, Benny Beningame is not going to score. Are we going to score more than 2 goals in a game? Because United at home was the last time that we did.
I was just about to say, the last time I can remember it happening was United at home.
So hopefully we've got that saved for Aberdeen and then United again on the weekend.
Yeah. I was so buzzing. And inexplicably, I saw Robbie say that. We came back from the winter break 7 points clear. We've had a terrible run and we're 11 points clear.
This league is absolute trailer trash.
It's just incredible. And again,
God bless the Cinch.
Again, it's so us. The most us thing is to be like, we've been shit for 7 years. And then the one time we go, you know what? Let's just get ourselves about it. Is the most important year possible to get third.
I'm not having that. That is the most un-Hearts thing.
It's both the most Hearts thing and most un-Hearts thing ever.
Oh, dear. But look, it's all smiles. We're back to winning ways. We've got some big fixtures to come in March alone. Obviously, this will go out, but we're recording Monday, the 28th of February. And 28th of February is a momentous day for Heart and Midlothian.
No, I thought we were going to stick with the positivity here.
No, we are. I'm just going to go into the fact that it's the anniversary of obviously the Bayern Munich win, one of our greatest ever European victories, the 10-0 win over Cowdenbeath. And now McIver gets to celebrate it by one of his favourites signing on a 2-year contract extension, Mr. Andy Halliday. What do you make of that, McIver? Shall I read you the Hearts article? Thank you. You seem chuffed.
Absolutely buzzing.
Heart of Midlothian Football Club is delighted to
Don't
announce
sit there with that smile on your face.
That Andy Halliday has become the latest first-team player to commit his future to the club. The vastly experienced utility man has signed a 2-year contract.
Utility man, code for he's shite in many positions.
Shut up! Which will keep him at Tynecastle Park until 2024. 30-year-old Andy has proved 30-year-old Andy has proven a hit with the fans after joining the Jambos back in September 2020.
That's a lie! You can say, listen, on the other part of the statement.
Wait. Let me finish it. An integral part of last season's championship winning squad. He's gone on to pull on the maroon jersey 56 times, scoring 7 goals. Speaking to the official Hearts website, manager Robbie Nielsen said, "It's great news that Andy has committed his future to the club. He's a really experienced player and someone you need in your dressing room. He gives his all on the pitch, and I know the fans appreciate the fact that you get nothing less than 100% from him. It's a bonus that for us that he is so versatile. As anyone watching our win over St Mirren at the weekend would have seen when he came on to slot in at right fullback. I'm happy he's going to be here for another 2 years, and he will continue to be an important part of the squad as we aim to keep on progressing." Sporting director Joe Savage said, "A big part of any success at a football club is stability, and we've been working hard to ensure that where merited, we keep that continuity going. We obviously got some of our key senior players signed up earlier in the year, and Andy penning a new deal was the next piece of the jigsaw. Andy is a winner, and you could see that when he goes out onto the pitch. He's a great role model for younger players, and I'm happy that we will continue to reap the benefits of his professionalism for another 2 years."
Right.
Fantastic.
Listen, there is just an objective lie in that statement.
Which is?
He is not beloved by the fan base. He's beloved by a portion of the fan base. But saying that someone is adored by a fan base is like Rudy or Craig Gordon levels. Not Andy Halliday. What a needless dig at fans who don't like him.
Oh.
Listen. Obviously, everybody is wanting to hear my thoughts about this, as my mentions very much
so
true.
Happy. I'm honestly so happy to see this break today, because I thought this is going to be fantastic for me hosting and Mackay responding to all the questions. Oh, sensational, man.
I am fine with Andy Halliday signing a new deal if his new wages reflect his squad player status.
They definitely won't.
Apparently they do.
Do they?
Apparently so.
Where have you heard that?
Alan from the other podcast, from the Since I Was Young podcast. He tweeted it, so I've no idea his source.
The most reliable source.
Yeah, exactly. But
hi, Alan.
Hi, Alan. But listen, I'm really no arsed. I think, and
you're fizzing. Don't lie.
No, this is what I'm going to say. I'm annoyed about one thing that we will get onto in a minute.
Right. Okay.
But if you just look at Andy Halliday, I think he's been fine this season. I think there's been a lot of players better than him. I think there's been a lot of players much worse than him.
He's been much better in the Premiership than he has been in the Championship.
Unbelievably, he has been, and I don't understand why. He's Christian Atsu from a few years ago. I think that's just.
I don't know if that's.
Maybe it's because he's had a full preseason. Maybe, I don't know if it is.
Maybe. Is that an arrogance? You're right, because he came to us unfit, and even he admitted that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's because he's got a year left on his deal, so it feels as though he's got to give it everything. Obviously, now that's not the case. I don't know.
I feel very little about this signing. I don't think he's been terrible this season. I don't think he's been great this season. I think there's been a lot of games where he's come on and done nothing.
I think he's been decent.
I think he's been fine. I think what the biggest compliment I can give him is that I've never felt he's made us worse any time he's come on, but also...
It's just that you've not made us better.
Yeah, well, I just don't think he's had an impact like I would want from a substitute. But, as I'm saying, there are substitutes who have made us worse, like consistently worse. So, that's what I'm like, and listen...
Is this your annoyance?
Not especially. There's another topic that is my annoyance. With Andy Halliday, I think some people misconstrue my feelings on Andy Halliday. I really like him as a guy. I really like listening to him speak about football. Yeah, I watched his press conference from today, the full 10 minutes. There is no doubt he wants to be here. There is no doubt he cares about playing for us. He was speaking about wanting to help the under-18s with Naze, which was great to hear. He's speaking about getting his A licence this year and wants to eventually move into coaching. He also spoke about, he made a joke. A journalist asked him about how the recent performances have been before the St Mirren game, and he laughed and went, there was a documentary about Hearts a couple of years ago. Well, if there was a documentary crew in the dressing room at St Johnstone, that would have been a very entertaining episode. So, listen, I like listening to him speak about football. I have absolutely no problem at all with him appearing on open goal and doing punditry. I do not care. He can do that every week of his life. That doesn't affect his performances on the park. My issues with Andy Halliday are entirely based on, I just don't think he's very good. I don't think he's our worst player in the squad. I don't think he's our best player. My annoyance from this comes from, you were saying quotes. I've now got a quote for you.
Okay.
Halliday's deal leaves Peter Haring as the one senior member of the squad not yet tied down for next season, and Nielsen admits a decision is still to be made on the Austrian. He added, Peter's one that we've still to make a decision on. We always want to progress the club and we want to bring new players in and sign certain players to stay here. He's one in the group that we're still not 100% sure of.
Wow.
Now, this is where my frustration is. If Peter Haring is given a deal and a deal is put on the table for him and he says no, that is totally okay. Nothing the club can do about that. That's his prerogative. He's coming at the prime of his career. He's wanting game time. I get that. I think we should be giving him the game time he wants. But listen, if he goes, listen, I don't fancy that. I'd rather. There's rumours that he's been having offers from Austria and he might want to go home. I don't know, right?
Is that so? We're both fans of Big Pete.
Yes, absolutely. However, that's one side of it. But the way that quote reads to me, and I understand people on Twitter who were saying, no, listen, this could just be Robbie protecting Pete, who said that he doesn't want it, and he's going, oh, well, we're actually saying as a club, we don't know if we're decided. But if the management team is going, I don't think Peter Haring is the type of player we want to keep, that is a shambolic decision.
You know my feelings on it. I don't think he fancies him. And that's I've been saying that for weeks, months.
I just don't get it.
I don't know.
I just don't get it. There is no one in our team who can.
Sorry, mate. Go on you.
I just don't think there's anybody in the team who can pass a ball like Peter Haring. I don't think there's anybody in the team that can control a game like Peter Haring. I don't think there's anybody in the team that can read a game like Peter Haring. I fully understand the argument that, listen, he wasn't a fast player to begin with, and then his injury has made an already not very fast player slower. Totally get that. I was speaking to Ian Greenhill today about it, and it's like, he described him as that he loves him, but he's either world class or rubbish. I get that. But I think much more often than not, he's more in the world class side than rubbish. And I just personally don't understand the argument of, I don't think we should be giving him a new deal. I don't think he's one of the guys for us. As I say, if he chooses to say no, the club can't do anything more than that. That's totally fine. I wouldn't hold that against them. But genuinely, if we don't offer him a deal, I will hold that against the management team, because it's like, right, you now need to go and get me a Peter Haring quality centre midfielder.
World class or rubbish. Yeah, that's Big Pete probably is the perfect Hearts player in that sense. I just think, and this is me merely from on the outside looking in, I think we are trying to alter in a different direction. I think we're now looking at young athletes that we can make profit on, and Big Pete probably doesn't fit that bill. It's sad. I
also worry about that model. That model worries me,
in the sense that they're just not up to standard, and we can't develop them to a point where they then become sellable.
Look, Benny and Devlin are two fantastic examples.
Do you think that then, and this is merely me just asking the question, do you think that then is why people would raise concerns, or it would give people a valuable reason as to raise concerns with Robbie? Or do you not think?
I don't know if necessarily Robbie. I think if you have a concern about that, that has to be a
that's
concern.
Unfair, just the gaffer, but the coaching team as a band, if you will.
I think if that's a criticism, it has to be labelled at the whole footballing department,
yes.
And that's from the top. I think we've shown with, like, for example, Benny and Devlin, who are both very good footballers, but also fantastic athletes, that works brilliantly. I think that is exactly the mould. But I'll be honest, so far, Nathaniel Atkinson is the other side of that mould, where clearly he's very athletic. He's a very good athlete. But so far, I'm not seeing anything that makes me feel comfortable that he's Michael Smith's replacement, who isn't as athletic, but he's a better footballer than him.
Yeah, I'll go along with that. Look, we've talked about, this plethora of players delivering 3 points in Paisley. We've also got 2 massive games this week, the first of which takes place at Tynecastle on Wednesday night. We welcome who you reckon is the most attractive manager in the league, Jim Goodwin, and his Aberdeen team to Gorgie. We've not beaten the Dons yet this season, drawing the first meeting at Tynecastle 1 apiece before losing 2-1 up at Pittodrie, despite taking the lead through a John Suter penalty. What are you anticipating from Jim Goodwin's New Look Reds?
Well, as you say, I'm on the side of the opposition dugout, so I'll just be able to look down and see Jim Goodwin and be happy, regardless of what's going on in the park. I don't know. I think if we keep Christian Ramirez quiet, we should have no problems. I think he is their main threat. I know that last time at Tynecastle, Jet came on, and especially Alex Cochrane really struggled against them.
I actually thought your mate Andy Halliday was probably more culpable of struggling against the Jet that day, to be fair.
That's true. I think they both were. They both just didn't really know what to do against him.
Big boy.
But he's done nothing the rest of the season. And I think...
Doesn't even get a game. I think they only named 5 subs at the weekend. I think he's omitted through injury, so I don't know if he's...
If that's fair, I'm not even sure. But if that is the case, then definitely. I think if we keep Lewis Ferguson, Christian Ramirez quiet...
Lewis Ferguson I'm a big fan of as well. I don't know how he's not got his move yet.
I think they're the 2 main positives of Aberdeen. If we can keep them quiet, I think we should be all right. It's the return of Declan Gallagher versus Craig Halkett, so that'll be fun times. They get to see each other again. I honestly don't know, because it's weird to look at, we said at the start of the show, it's weird to look at the league table because you go, oh, well, they're 8th, we should have no problem. But they're only 3 points off 4th.
Again, good players. You've just named 2 of them there. I don't think they're all that convincing at the back, to be honest.
Oh my God, they've got David Bates. I've just remembered that.
Well, I was going to say, Joe Lewis looks pretty finished to me, if I'm honest. They should have really stepped up their efforts to sign Xander Clark, if I'm being totally honest. Gallagher, Bates at the back. Big fan of Ross McCrory's, but I think he's out for injury. Calvin Ramsey is not available either, or hasn't been. Probably be Adam Montgomery or Johnny Hayes at left back. They're definitely there for the taking it in my eyes. But I don't know what I'm going to anticipate, to be honest. There's a part of me that thinks it'll be another dull 1-1 draw, and I might put that for who scored, in the hope that we beat them 2-1. Because I think we will concede. I think Ramirez will bag, given he missed a sitter at Tiny against us, and he hasn't scored yet against us this season. That's probably going to change. But I think after the weekend, we're in a really good place, and I just hope that we've got more goals amongst the ranks. What are you saying to it?
I'm also going to go with 1-1. I think it'll be tougher than some people are expecting, because I think some people go, oh, it's Aberdeen, they've been shite. But on the other hand, they've now got Jim Goodwin, who I think is a very good manager.
And they've drawn both Goodwin's matches in charge.
Which he loves a draw. He bloody loves a draw this season.
The draw merchants of the league. That's right.
Yeah, this season he's got 14 draws across both clubs he's at. Like, it's incredible.
It's 2 from 2 at Aberdeen so far. Yeah. So if you say 1 each, I'll say 2-1 Hearts.
Fair enough.
We'll go with that. And then United at Tannadice, obviously battered them in the game that we spoke about briefly earlier, 5-2 at Tiny, and that was after beating them 2-0 at Tannadice earlier on in the season.
We were good again there as well.
We've been brilliant again in both games against United this season. So any reason why we can't make that 3 from 3?
I think a lot of it is going to depend on what happens in the Aberdeen game. I think if we win in Aberdeen, there is absolutely no reason why we can't think, right, continuous momentum, 2 wins on the bounce, go to Tannadice and get something. However, if we drop points against Aberdeen, whether it is a draw or a loss, there'll be an expectation of, right, we need to immediately get back on the horse and beat Dundee United. And I think if that's the case with McNulty and Tony Watt, I think it's another game where I think we'll concede at least once. And honestly, I can see that being a draw.
Clean sheet at Tannadice.
Nah, I don't think we'll get a clean sheet.
They play Livingston in midweek. Do we want Livy to win? Probably.
Are they at home or away?
At the Tony Mac, yeah.
I think a draw would be good.
I think it will end in a 1-1 draw. It did earlier on in the season. I can remember writing up the preview, but I couldn't remember who United were playing. I've just had a look there.
I think a draw is probably best for us in terms of, if they get beat, they could go, right, we're at home, we need to have a reaction. And then if they win, obviously they're just like, yes, we're now at home. Whereas if they draw, I think it's like, what do we stick or twist to our tactics? What are we doing? And then we can capitalise on that.
So what are you anticipating and what are you wanting from this duo of fixtures? What would you be happy with?
I'd be happy with 4 points. If we beat Aberdeen
for 4.
If we beat Aberdeen and then got a point away, obviously I'd love 6, but I'd take. Yeah. I wouldn't really I would. I'd be happy with 4 points either way, although I'd prefer it to be drawn at
Aberdeen.
Home. No, I'd rather we get because our away form this season is gradually improving. I know we've had terrible results.
That's 2 home draws against Aberdeen.
Oh, true. I forgot about scratch everything I've just said. I completely forgot about that one as well. Yeah, we can't go this season without beating Aberdeen. Yeah. So yeah, I'd take that and then a draw away. Of course a draw away. Because that's like getting a draw away from home.
That's all right.
A good result, yeah.
That's all right.
But I think we'll get 2 points. I think we'll draw both games. Yeah.
I think we'll get at least 4 points.
I have a question for you though.
It's amazing how one win all of a sudden Peter positive. At least 4, but it will be 6.
Final thing before we finish, I have a question for you.
Go for it.
If Mr. Peter Positive here is right and we win both games, do you think that's third?
You bastard.
Obviously, I know it's dependent on everybody else as well, what they do and stuff. But if we win both games, we're a minimum, even regardless of what happens.
It's a massive step towards it.
Yeah. Oh, so you're going to sit on the fence.
That's all I'm going to say on the matter. As somebody that cares far too much about what Robbie says from time to time, that's a decent enough quote. That is the stereotypical footballer or gaffer answer.
Taking it one game at a time.
A game at a time. It's a long season.
No anymore. We're coming to the business end of it.
True. Look, no league positions ever secured in February or March. That's what I've been telling people.
It could be in March, though.
Well, if we get the finger out, it could be.
What an ending. You get a wee wink.
Yeah, well, you say ending because I did see, as I went onto the Hearts website, about Andy Halliday. We've got another midfielder, young Finlay Pollock, is headed out to East Fife for the remainder of the campaign. The Fifers are currently bottom of League One, so that's exactly what young Finlay needs, a relegation battle on his hands under Stevie Crawford's stewardship. I think, if I'm honest, they're probably preparing for life under League Two, but a decent level for the young man to get some games at McIver.
Of course he's going to Stevie Crawford. Robbie's just went, Stevie! You just take somebody, please.
Stevie's been scrambling all around the youth setups for players, and he's like, do you know what? I know a guy.
I know a guy.
I'll
get on my phone. I think it's a good move. As you say, I don't really give a shit if he's Fife stay up or not, but as long as he has a good season, then I'm delighted. Obviously, it's just a few games he'll be getting if he gets much game time at all. But I have very high hopes for Finlay Pollock, much like I have very high hopes for Scott McGill. And Scott McGill's doing really well at Airdrie.
Tearing it up at Airdrie at the Dundee in League One, yeah.
So I saw actually, I think it was last week, Connor Smith was asked, because he's out of contract at the end of the season, and he hopes that he gets given a new deal. I'd like to see Connor Smith get given a new deal, very much so. I felt he's never, ever come into the side and let himself down.
No, a few chances, but he's performed well when he has been given the chance.
Exactly. Nice. I always feel his debut 2 games are overshadowed by Hickey, the Celtic away and Hibs away.
Yes.
Because I thought he was very good in both those games, and then he just never really got a chance after that. But it's good to just see our young talent going out and just, is this Pollock's second loan move? Do you know, going to like the Lowland League or something?
Now you're asking. I want to say he was at Berwick Rangers, but I don't feel as though that's right.
No, that does actually ring a bell. We might be thinking of somebody else, but it's great that we're actually sending him out. Because listen, I know he featured for us a wee bit at the end of last season, the beginning of this one, the Betfred Cup, but he is such a young guy. Like, he has so much. Let's not turn this into another Harry Cochrane.
No, according to Transfermarkt, he's not.
Is this his first loan? Well, fair play. This is a big move from him.
He's only 17, mind
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I hope this isn't another Harry Cochrane situation where we just go, he's the best player in the world. We need to put him in the first team right fucking now. And it ruins him. Let him develop slowly, feature occasionally every now and then in the first team when he comes back from loan spells, and he goes up the ladder. And then he can fit back into the team.
Exactly what I was going to say, on the same wavelength. Look at that.
See, we should be doing it. We'll be the new loan managers. It'll be great. Oh, anyway, thank you so much for listening to this episode. The most positive episode we've had in about a month. It's been great. Come on. Now, Thank you very much for listening. We have been Perth to Paisley. You can get us on all the socials at Perth to Paisley. We've also got an email, perthtopaisley@gmail.com. If you've been listening to this on a podcast platform, please leave us a review on that platform. It's massively, massively beneficial to us and helps us. Likewise, if you're physically watching this on YouTube, please leave a like, subscribe, comment. I've been saying it every week, but we've been seeing a gradual and continual rise in interactions on YouTube videos. And it's so much appreciated. It really does help us. So thank you so much for that. Adam, where can they get you on social media?
You can get me on all the socials at Adam T. Kendall. And what about yourself, mate?
I'm at DMcIver22. We'll be back next week to discuss all the fallout, the Aberdeen game, the Dundee United game, preview upcoming games, and any other news that comes in between now and then. But until then, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
More the Hearts!